And we are taking a look at the president now. You see the Homeland Secretary, Kristi Noem, is with him today, along with the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. And as they take this tour through what we're calling, because they do, Alligator Alcatraz, now we're getting to see why they call it that. There is effectively, and I haven't heard anybody else use this wording, maybe they have, but it's like a moat of alligators that encircles this place, as many sides as it has. So, you know, what's interesting about this is it's exactly transparently what the president has been talking about via the governor of Florida. And if we get a microphone that we can listen to, we will try. Let's try here. I think we may be just too far away from the microphone. Now, you know, no one can find that better than the President of the United States that we have in Donald Trump, because he sees where the cameras are. He may jump in front of them and will immediately go back. Meanwhile, I want to talk with somebody who's really dealt with a lot of this issue of illegal aliens, the worst of the worst, being allowed in under the Biden administration. Congressman Chip Roy of the great state and border state of Texas. Congressman, your thoughts as the president is there looking at this facility where they can house up to 5,000 of the worst of the worst?
Harris, great to be on. And yeah, obviously we've experienced this firsthand in Texas, the difficulty of local law enforcement and states.
Congressman, let's listen real quickly to the president. I apologize. Let's watch.
Sure.
So I would say he should call the governor, Kristi, and I'm sure you'd give him because his state is a disaster, and he doesn't do this.
Well, they have the original Alcatraz, so you guys could approve him being able to set one of these up over there. I'm sure the secretary would be happy to do that and provide. My sense is he's probably not going to bite on that, but I don't know that they'd be able to come in at cost because they tried to do this high-speed rail. They spent like $150 billion, no tracks. We've got a privately funded rail in Florida from Miami to Orlando. It costs the taxpayer zero, and it's very successful. So it's just a much different approach between states.
We're not going to let him get anywhere near Alcatraz. It'll cost 100 times more than they thought. Now, he ought to come here and study this because he can learn a lot.
Yes? The first person checking into the room, sir.
Tomorrow.
Hopefully tomorrow, within the next 24 hours.
They have the doctors, they have all the professionals.
There's going to be a security sweep because there have been civilians here, so they will sweep this multiple times to make sure there's nothing can be used as weapons or any contraband. And then once that's cleared, then they'll do. So it's really up to Secretary. I know has got people in the queue, and so they'll be ready to receive.
I think our viewers at home should know that this is air-conditioned facility. So if any of the news claims are keeping them out in the hot, humid South Florida, that is wrong. It's probably 62 degrees here.
To be honest.
Hey,
Biden wanted me in here, okay? He wanted me. It didn't work out that way, but he wanted me in here.
What's your expectation what this will do for the speed and force of deportation?
A lot of things, and they're both telling me that these people come in here, they want to go home. And they want to go home, so we immediately send them home, where it's appropriate. Now, if somebody's a real killer, we don't send them anywhere. We put them in a maximum security. Look, what we inherited from this guy, this incompetent man, and his administration, which wasn't incompetent, it was radical left, lunatic, communist, whatever you want to say. I know most of them. What we inherited should never, ever be forgotten. What they've made us do. This is all because of an open border policy where 25 million people flowed in. From all over the world, from prisons, from all over the world they flowed in. For no reason whatsoever. We had, when I left, we had a very powerful border. We had no problem. He opened it up. Day one, he just opened the border, and people couldn't believe it.
That's right.
They were standing there. What are they doing? They said, go in. That's it. You look at the first day tapes. They opened it up, and they said, go in. And that's where all of this began. But this is an amazing thing that they've done here. Really
but listen, people don't have to come here. If they self-deport and go home, they can come back legally. We will let them come back legally.
And there is a lot of self-deportation.
Yes. But if you wait and we bring you to this facility, you don't ever get to come back to America. You don't get the chance to come back and be an American again and work here. So
they weren't with us when the President and the Secretary Kevin and I we went through the intake. So right when you do the intake, they have the information about voluntary departure. They have the ability. Obviously, you guys are funding that because it's a lot cheaper to do it that way. So even if they get brought to the front doorstep here, they still have an opportunity to just go back voluntarily, and then this way they're not.
Let's say they get in here like, hey, I want to stay here, I want to go back.
We can put them on a plane that day and take them home. We'll buy their plane ticket, go home, and then they get the chance to come back legally. If they wait and say we're not going to do that,
they can come back legally after a period.
Yeah.
President, you've talked recently about the idea of finding some way to get farm workforce and service sector workforce, and I think you've discussed somehow a program of people leaving on a sponsorship and coming right back. Can you give us a little more detail about that and why, in the view of some hardliners, it's not amnesty?
Take care of our farmers and hotel workers and various other people, and we're working on it right now, and Ron's going to be involved, and you're involved already. So we have a lot of cases where ICE will go into a farm, and these are guys working there for 10, 15 years, no problem. The farmers know them. We're going to put, it's called farmer responsibility or owner responsibility, where they're going to be largely responsible for these people. And they know these people. They've worked on the farms for 15 years, and all of a sudden so I have a great, Ron does, Christie does, we have a great feeling for the farmer and for others in the same position. And we're going to give them responsibility for people. And we're going to have a system of signing them up so they don't have to go. They can be here legally. They can pay taxes and everything. They're not getting citizenship, but they get other things. And the farmers need them to do the work. Without those people, you're not going to be able to run your farm.
Mr. President, you and the governor tangled pretty hard in the 2024 election, yet you stand here now. Yet you stand here now as partners on this effort. How would you describe the relationship, and what future does Governor DeSantis have?
I think it's a 10. Maybe 9-9, because there might be a couple of little wounds. So maybe it's not 9. I think we have a 10. We get along great.
Well, the thing about it is, I endorsed him immediately in January 2024. I raised one of his PACs millions and millions of dollars, and obviously we saved him a lot of money in Florida because Florida was a deep red state. He didn't even have to do a rally in Florida, whereas 2016 and 20, this was like ground zero, and so we've been really happy to do that. And then we've worked very well on this and other issues with Florida. And you can call him at any time, and he wants to be helpful for governors. I mean, I can tell you that. We did Hurricane Helene last year. You didn't hear from the president at the time then. But with President Trump, we know immediately. You just make the phone call.
As a follow-up question, I'm sorry, like another thing you inherited. How firm are you going to be with Netanyahu about ending the war in Gaza?
Very firm. But he wants it to. I will tell you. He's coming here next week. He wants to end it too. We had a tremendous success with Iran. They weren't happy. Somebody said, when are you going to sign? I said, sign? They are so bombed out. Did you see the report issued this morning? The place was decimated. It'll be years before anybody even gets down there. So that's not a priority, but we'll have a report and we'll have whatever we want. We'll get whatever we want from Iran. And I think, and I hope they want to have a good country. They have massive sanctions right now, biting sanctions. It's going to be very hard for them to do anything with those sanctions. And I look forward to maybe there'll be a time when we get along with them and they can rebuild their country.
Is there a point where you tell Netanyahu, like, you gotta end this now, you gotta strike a deal?
Well, he wants to. I can tell you he wants to, and I think we'll have it. I think we'll have a deal next week. That's what I think.
Mr. President, did you intend to announce your pick for successor to Jay Powell earlier than say, or as early as say this summer or this fall?
Will I do something about who it's going to be?
Yes.
I don't know. Hey, he'd be a good candidate. He might do it. She'd be a good candidate, too. Anybody would be better than Jay Powell. No, he's causing us a fortune because he keeps the rate way up. I think it's Trump derangement syndrome, personally. But, we have a very strong country. We're the strongest country. Look, our country right now is at a level that we haven't seen for 40, 50 years. What we're doing now is nobody's seen anything like it. I told you, I was in the Middle East. The King of Saudi Arabia said to me very strongly, he said, you know what? A year ago you had a dead country. Now you have the hottest country in the world. We do. We have the hottest country in the world. Thank you very much.
When are we going to see that exemption for farmers? And what about other
We'll be seeing it over the next couple of years.
What about construction and other industries?
Also, those type of industries.
Will Kilmore Abrego Garcia be the first inmate here?
The president today has taken a full range of questions more than once as he tours the Alligator Alcatraz down in Florida that is meant to house illegal immigrants in this country who are committing further crimes, the worst of the worst. And you just heard also from our nation's Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, saying, look, if you've come here illegally, you must leave. However, if you have legal intentions in this country and have a dream, you can put yourself on the list to come back into the U.S. by the CBP Home app. But you got to go there with the home portion in order to come back. So you're getting a lot more information about, obviously, the facility. I know one reporter was talking about, the conditions inside, and you heard a comment from part of Governor DeSantis' team off camera that this is an air-conditioned facility. But now they're back outside. They're in and out on this tour because part of it is outdoors under a tent. This is where I mentioned earlier they house hurricane victims when that state is ravaged by them. So the facility is really made for that habitation, if you will, of humanity that gets pushed out in a storm and can certainly handle illegal immigrants who are waiting deportation. I want to bring in again Congressman Chip Roy of Texas. Congressman, how important is it to have a facility? And the president talked about we may see 2 more, Alabama, also Louisiana. How important are these facilities in terms of getting people out who really need to be deported?
Yeah, thanks, Harris. As you noted earlier, we're very familiar with this in Texas. We've had facilities just like this, many facilities, along the Texas-Mexico border. No stranger to high heat and high temperatures.
That's right.
Those facilities, I've toured them many times. They are air-conditioned. They are very hospitable, if you will. The idea here is to have a place where we can affordably put people so that the president can carry out his campaign promise, as he is doing on a daily basis, to secure our border and to remove individuals from this country who are here illegally, both because they're dangerous, but also because of what that does on the demands of our social welfare state and our local jails and our local hospitals. The Biden administration irresponsibly endangered our country. This president is leading, and it's great to see him with Governor DeSantis. They're both good friends of mine, and with Secretary, talking about this facility, which is fundamentally necessary. I just wish Congress wasn't so inept that it wasn't delivering a good bill to make sure that we get the dollars there so that we can support the ICE removals.
Now, I think what you're talking about with your last remarks there are the part of this big, beautiful bill that uses money, from my understanding, under the category of defense. It's like $1 billion in the effort of handling the illegal immigration invasion that we had under ex-President Biden.
Yeah, last year, as we were working to strategize on what to do this year, I was working closely with the Trump administration, because they're all good friends of mine, trying to make sure that we get money for border and defense that is ready to undo the damage of the Biden administration. $150 billion set aside for border and ICE removals. $150 billion to modernize and rebuild our military. These are the great things that President Trump is doing for our country.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Compagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.